everyone. Welcome in. Thank you all for joining us tonight for Humanities at Play. My name is Kathleen Kuo, and I'm a program manager with Nevada Humanities, which is our state's council partner, the National Endowment for the Humanities. With Humanities at Play, our goal is to pair gameplay and other interactive activities with thoughtful discussions about the humanities and how they enrich our everyday lives. A couple quick notes before I get started. Welcome in, everyone. Hello, Tan. Hello, Some Quiet Guy. Thank you so much for being here. If you're a first-time Twitch user today, if you're watching us for the first time, welcome in. Thank you so much for braving the internet and joining us today. If you would like to chat with us and ask questions, I highly encourage you to make a free account, and that way you can type in our chat. But if you're just lurking, if you have us on in the background, you're listening in while you're making dinner, that's totally fine too. But a free account will let you chat with us. If you're a newer user of Twitch, we have a very fun feature called a chat command, which is an exclamation point followed by a keyword. We've already seen a little bit of those in chat already. Thank you for putting those in, Some Quiet Guy. We have a list of those in the title of our stream today, but also in the About section on our Twitch channel if you want to give those a try. So today, I am so thrilled to be joined by Lucas Fralick. Hello, Lucas.
Lucas. Hi, hello.
Hello, and welcome in, John. Thank you so much for the raid. Lucas works as the program coordinator for Wyoming Humanities. He coordinates the Center for the Book, Museum on Mainstreet Programs, and he's also involved in other programming across the humanities in Wyoming. He holds a master's degree in history from the University of Wyoming, and Lucas lives on a hobby farm outside of Gillette, Wyoming, where watching birds and reading are everyday occurrences. And I also want to call attention, everyone. Lucas, is that a giant AT-AT behind you?
Yep, it's there. It's one of my when I first get a real job purchases. You know what I mean?
I think everyone has those. I think I actually don't remember what my first purchase was, but I know that when my boyfriend got his first job, he got me a Nintendo Switch, and I haven't looked back since. Oh. So
sure, yeah,
that was that big purchase. So today, Lucas and I are going to be playing the game Firewatch, and we're going to be chatting for the first half of our stream, about the first hour. We're just going to be chatting casually about the work that he does at Wyoming Humanities with his coworkers. But then the second half of the stream, we're going to take about a 5-minute break in between. It's going to be the more focused interview, the more focused Q&A, where people in chat are, welcome to ask Lucas about his work, about his hobbies, what does it mean to live on a hobby farm, that kind of thing. Anything we didn't cover in the first half of the stream. So for those of you who haven't heard of Firewatch before, it's an indie adventure game that was released all the way back in 2016, which I can't believe that was seven years ago.
I was a different person back then.
Yeah, I think we all were. I hope so. Actually, I don't know. Let's get into that in a little bit. I'm going to ask you what kind of person you were in 2016, Lucas.
Oh, good.
But yeah, Firewatch has won multiple awards, including Best Narrative, Debut Game, Best 3D Visual Experience. Really, really cool game. We played part of this game previously with Sam Opsel from Indiana Humanities, and that's when we were chatting about the environmental themed programmings that they do over at Indiana. But with Lucas, since Firewatch is set in Wyoming, or like a kind of, I guess, fictional, fictitious Wyoming, we thought it'd be fun to do this again. And so just like before when we played it, we're going to start from the beginning of the game, where we're going to learn a little bit more about our protagonist, but then we're going to actually skip to day 2, and that's just for the sake of time, because during day 2, that's when you have more freedom. Day 1, kind of, you're stuck to like a very linear path, but day 2 lets us wander around. So we're just going to wander aimlessly around the woods and chat with one another. So yeah, we always love to hear from chat and hear what you think, so please don't be shy about sharing your observation and comments, any questions you might have for Lucas. Don't forget to hydrate, come ready to explore. Lucas, I just want to let you know really quickly before I pull up the game, people in chat said they love the AT-AT. Watch out for the harpoons and tow cables. We will make sure to do that. All right, I'm going to pull up the game. All right, and here we are. This is Firewatch. So let's start a new game. Yeah, let's start here. Okay.
Fresh game.
Yes.
Never before seen footage.
Camposanto presents.
And a couple of the producers are from Wyoming also.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Of this game. Yeah. Which is it's kind of like an homage to their home state, which is nice because it's positive and fun.
Is this like a love letter to Wyoming in a way, even though it starts in Colorado, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. in the best way possible, for sure.
Yeah. All right, you see Julia. Hopefully the sounds okay for everyone. If you need to, I think I can turn it up a little bit. Actually, it might be muted right now. Okay, we're gonna turn it up. All right. Julia, she's about your age, late 20s, laughing with well-dressed professors and grad students from nearby CU Boulder. You, Henry, are out drinking with your pals. You approach her. You are drunk. Okay, Lucas, first question. Do we ask her what's her major, or do we say, you're pretty?
What's your major?
All right. Good call. You slur the word major and it smells like Coors. You give an awkward smile. Evolutionary biology, she says. And I'm a professor. Cool, you reply. What's yours? She asks. She sniffs the air. Toxicology. Was that a burn, you ask? She says definitely. Worried she hurt your feelings, she asks you if you want to split a cheeseburger. 1 week later, you are Julia's boyfriend. Lucas, where did you go to college? Was it in Wyoming? University of Wyoming? Or?
And my undergrad was at Black Hills State University in Spearfish, South Dakota.
Okay.
It's a wonderful little town. Highly recommend. It's worth a Google if you've never been, and worth a visit, especially if you've never.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
Is South Dakota where the Badlands are?
Yeah. The Spearfish is several miles away from the Badlands, but it's all in the same area. I mean, you can get there in a couple hours, roughly.
Okay. I have been there, not to that college, but I've been to South Dakota once before, so I was trying to remember my geography.
Yeah, you gotta frame it. Yeah.
Okay, let's pick up our backpack.
And I think the game held up pretty well for 2016.
Yeah,
it looks pretty good.
What were you doing in 2016? 7 years ago.
I was just graduating from Black Hills State, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, with my undergrad. Fresh, young, poli-sci, history double major. Push-up glasses, arrogantly. Ready to go, I said. Yeah.
You and Julia date for over a year. She drives you absolutely nuts. It's great. You move in. You share an apartment near the school with a view of the mountains. You two drink beers out on the deck. You drink beer just about anywhere. Life is good. This does sound pretty good, especially now that it's summer and it's like hot. I love the idea of just being able to chill and see the mountains and relax at night.
Mm-hmm.
Julia wants to get a dog.
Oh, this is always a tough question.
Yeah. So there's a scruffy, undersized beagle. Julia's in love. She wants to bring it with her to class. There's also an intimidating but gentle-eyed German shepherd. Nothing bad could happen to Julia while walking this dog. It's badass. So do we want Bucket the beagle or Mayhem the shepherd? This is probably the hardest question. I wish you could get both.
It is tough because there's benefits to both, right? But let's go with the beagle.
Okay.
I mean, that's my opinion.
Do you have any dogs, Lucas?
My folks have a, what's it called? A border collie. Oh. Just fresh, brand new.
A puppy? Or
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the word.
a fresh collie. Love it.
I knew you'd get it. I couldn't think of the word.
Well, I was like, either you just got the border collie and it's a little bit older, or it just newly entered our world. I love it. Bucket's a good dog, and a week later, you've totally forgotten about the other one. Julia loves him, and you love him too. Angry Ostrich says, a fresh dog. Yes. 1979, you talk out on the deck. It's summer, 9:30 p.m., and the heat still radiates off of the high desert. What do you think about kids? She asks. Oh, that's a hard question always.
Dramatic question.
Yeah. Kids, they're not very smart or good at much. I'm saying if you and I have a couple little idiots. Okay, Lucas, should we say that would be pretty good, or one day, why rush?
We've been doing a lot on the left. Let's do one day, why rush?
Okay.
Something new.
Yeah, Ostrich says, this game starts off with all the hard questions. It really does. She looks away out towards the mountains. We have plenty of time, right? Speak for yourself, mister. Don't worry, you assure her. You tell her she has the body of an undergrad. Oof. My ovaries didn't get the memo, she says, laughing it off. One day, okay?
Ugh.
Yeah, the oof.
Cringe.
Yeah. I hope no one don't tell people that. That sounds horrible. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And stay in school.
All right, one day, she says. 6 months later, you get engaged, lying in bed on a Sunday morning. There's our truck. Do you drive a truck, Lucas? I'm just curious.
No, but everyone tells me, why don't you have a truck? You live in Wyoming, get a truck. I'm like,
What do you
never-
drive? Do you drive like just like a
I
normal car?
have a 2005 Chevy Impala.
Okay, I don't know anything about cars, so I actually don't know what that looks like.
It's just a car.
Okay,
It's
it looks
great
like a
on
car.
gas.
Uh-huh.
But what's great about it, it's better on gas than a truck.
Uh-huh.
If you keep the tires good, it can go through the snow just fine. And it lasts forever. So
Solid.
why would I need a truck? I don't have anything to haul.
All right, so here is I love this. What I love about this game, there are many things to love, but I love whoever designed this. They put so many details into just like everything, like this map, all the
A true labor of love type thing.
Yeah, someone really
very
loves
much so.
national parks, which is
Mhm.
great.
Well, it fits the Wyoming theme for sure. There's a lot of national parks here.
All right, let's. And I love this is so soothing. Just like the colors, and it really does feel like I'm outside, like just looking up at the sky and seeing birds above me. This is really lovely. Lucas, do you go hiking a lot?
Yeah, I'm a casual slow hiker, though. You understand. My friends usually don't like hiking with me, I don't think, because I'm not really in shape, and I tell them to stop to look at birds all the time. I'm like, wait, just give me a second.
There's nothing
All the
wrong with
time.
that.
Yeah.
1980. It's a Thursday night. Julia's 4 hours late. She doesn't call. You're worried and getting angrier by the minute. She walks in after you've gone to bed. She's not quite drunk, but she's clearly been having a fun time. You fight when she gets between the sheets. Oh, this is so hard. We can get mad or we can ignore her. I don't like either of these options, but we have to pick one.
Neither is a healthy way to deal with this situation. So I would think ignore her.
Yeah.
Just pick one.
A less
Shot in the dark.
Right, indirect form of being mad. You don't touch each other all night. The next day you feel guilty for being so angry, and you ask her about her evening. She says it was great. You hold on to a tiny pill of resentment. You make some coffee and go to work. 1981. Julia still likes to draw. She draws plants from her research. She draws all the places you go. She draws you. Should we say you pose and flex like He-Man, or you frolic like a Victoria's Secret model?
Let's do the one on the right. Yeah, frolic.
Okay.
I'm a frolicker.
You frolic when you're hiking.
All the time.
Very nice. John's a fan of frolicking. I love this. I feel like this is one of my favorite hours when it's like sunset and you can just like everything is like orange and purple and you see the stars. This captures it really, really wonderfully.
It's great, and even where I live now, it looks a lot like this. Probably about in another 20 minutes or so, it's going to get a lot like that sort of golden hour type glaze to the sky.
Do you see mountains from where you live?
I can see the Bighorn Mountains on a clear day.
Okay.
It's really cool, actually, because you just see the outlines of these blue peaks, and it's really neat.
Okay, Lucas, I have to ask you, what does it mean to live on a hobby farm? What is a hobby farm?
Yeah, that's a good question. So full disclosure, I live in my parents' old feed store, which is on their property. So it's not my farm, it's theirs. And so the idea behind a hobby farm is that you do it because you can, and you have no intention to make money off of this farm, but you invest a lot into it. So my folks cut alfalfa every year. We generate enough hay for their horses and cows and things. It's a little herd of cows. And so, but never enough to make money off of it. I mean, never. They never break even. And I'm okay saying that, I'm sure. They just love doing it. And little garden and just do it because they can. So that's a hobby farm. There's no expectation. They can get up one morning and decide not to. There's no requirement. It's nice.
How many horses are there?
Let's see, 3. I think they have 3 now. Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's nice.
1982. During the summers, you and Julia enjoy walking bucket at night. There's a festival in town. It brings in folks from faraway places. Oh no, one of them tries to mug you with a knife.
Oh, geez.
Oh, Bucket gets kicked. Oh no. Julia gets flustered and has trouble speaking when she is stressed. You confront the attacker. Okay, again, not a great scene. Do we scare him away or beat his face? And I don't like any of these options.
Let's scare him away.
Yeah, let's scare him away. You reach into our pocket like you've got a gun. You threaten to kill him. You manage to scare all three of you. He runs away. Julia asks to take a different path from that day forward. You say okay. You don't want to go that way either. From then on, you walk by the river. This game really hits.
It's a better place to walk anyway.
Yeah, I feel like all of our emotions are being hit. There's like happiness, there's like sadness, there's fear, just everything's happening. 1984, plans to have kids get waylaid by work. Julia gets offered a job at Yale. Yale's in Connecticut, 2,000 miles away. It's a great job. Associate department chair. She wants to move. You absolutely do not. We can either convince her not to take the job, or we can agree if she commutes back and forth.
That's like, I see where this is going. And I mean, neither answer is acceptable either, because you're going to have, that's a long commute.
Yeah, in the 80s, like...
Oh, yeah. Right. It's not like today with the telepads.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no teleportation. And yeah, no smartphones. You just use those like old like rotary dial phones. Like I just think nowadays, like yeah, we have like Skype, we have Zoom, we have Discord, which is what Lucas and I are using right now to chat and share our screens. No screens back then, really.
Well, I mean, obviously, if she has to commute, if we have to make a choice, let's just make it.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Okay. You ask her if she'll commute back and forth. You don't want to move to Connecticut. She says that'll be hard, but she'll do it if you won't move. You tell her not to pass it up if it's what she wants. She agrees. She flies back to Boulder 3 times each semester. Well,
oh, man.
You know, despite the effect on the environment, at least maybe she's getting points on whatever airline she's flying.
It was the 80s. It's a different time.
1985, Julia is sent home from Yale on paid leave after having an episode. She lost out on a colleague for borrowing books that are important to her research. She didn't remember she had happily loaned them to him just 2 days prior.
Uh-oh.
She was found crying in a stairwell. You say that maybe you guys should talk to someone about it, or you make macaroni and drink wine and try to forget about it.
You gotta talk to somebody about it, right?
I think so, too. I know. And then we can have macaroni and wine later. But
yeah. I mean, that's a guaranteed, right? So you gotta...
After seeing multiple doctors and having many tests, they're worried that Julia might be suffering from early onset dementia. She's 41. We both decide to keep it a secret for now. Okay. Just gonna... You know, I kind of appreciate how after, you know, difficult moments, the game breaks and takes you away to these moments outside in nature. And they don't really say why. Like, I wonder if this is what our character does when he's, like, stressed out or having, like, a moment. Do you think he just goes camping?
Yeah.
They don't really tell us.
Yeah, I think he's reminiscing back on all this stuff, and he uses this time to escape and reflect. I mean, the outdoors are kind of good for that sometimes, I think. And so, yeah, I would agree. I think you're totally right. It's the contrast, the juxtaposition between these intense situations and this calming nature scene is very welcomed.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Okay, I know we had to pick up this journal, but I'm going to pause here and say, Lucas, I know that you are a fan of bird watching. If you were bird watching right now, because there are birds in the distance, like, I'm not a bird watcher. I don't even know what you do. I know that you have like books and binoculars.
That's it.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Do you like, but what do you look for? So if you saw these birds now, like, do you already like, is your bird watching brain, like, is that part of you? Are you saying, oh, this must be like this kind of bird because it's flying in this pattern, or it has like these kinds of wings?
Yep. You nailed it. Especially this time of day where it's getting harder to see colors. And I can't hear them in game if they're ever making sounds, but in reality, I'd be hearing for stuff. And this time of day, you'll probably be like seeing nighthawks, which are very noisy when they hunt. So, and I'd look at how they fly precisely.
Okay.
And I can't tell you what these are
because
they're not flying like anything I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I can be like, Lucas, what's that bird?
A dark silhouette.
Oh, there's us frolicking. So I guess the game changes depending on which option you pick. Bucket is getting older. Julia comments that it's kind of nice because he gets in less trouble around the house. A week later, she goes back to the university. 1987. Julia's affliction gets worse. She can't remember things in class. Her research is in shambles. She drives her car to the next town over for no particular reason, and she has to be brought home by the police. She is devastated. She is sent home on permanent medical leave. So sad. Some days you get the Julia who calls you a dope and your unborn children little idiots. Other days you get a stranger. She pulls you into bed to make love. But after 5 minutes, she goes into a panic, believing her dad is at the door. You tell her family. They are crushed and begin to make trips to and from their home in Australia to visit her. For a while, your friends come by with little things to brighten the day. She gets worse.
Oh.
1988. You spend your days following Julia around the house. You count the seconds between the 2 weekly visits from Daniel, the nurse. He suggests that Julia could live somewhere else, somewhere with 24-hour care, a home. It sits with you for a couple months. So we can either move her into a full-time care facility, or you're determined to take care of her by yourself. Angry Ostrich writes in chat, this opening reminds me of the movie Up.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Can I just say, I have only ever seen the beginning of Up. So, like, you know, where they, like, tell the life story of, you know, like, the old guy and his wife. I've not seen the rest of it. I've only seen that part of it.
Oh, man. Oh, well, you're really missing out. You should watch the rest of the movie.
I know. So my impression of Up is just that it's really sad. I don't know anything else.
Yeah, you definitely. You need to take the time.
Okay.
It's well worth it.
Everyone chat says I'm missing out. I know. I'm missing out on a lot of things.
If we got to make a call, let's see what happens if we try to take care of her.
Okay, that sounds good. In chat, Ingrashich said, me too. I was in a hospital, put it on, saw the beginning, cried, fell asleep, never watched the rest. All right, sounds like we need like a movie night or something.
For sure.
And we're gonna do our best to take care. Okay, so here's another right. We made a very difficult decision, and now we're in the woods. So, are you like a tree person too? Like, do you also have an interest in plants?
I'm very pro tree. I'm super pro tree, but I know nothing about them really. I mean, I mean that to me looks like an aspen, but I can't tell you what anything else, and I could be wrong. I'm just guessing. I'm not a plant guy.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
I like plants.
I think if you asked me, I would say, oh, is it a birch tree because it's like whitish looking? But I don't know.
Sure. Correct. Yeah. See, I don't know. I'm too busy looking at the things in the trees as opposed to the tree itself.
What got you into bird watching?
Oh boy, that's hard to say. I've always liked birds. And there's something, I don't know if other birders use this phrase, but there's something that I like to call a gateway bird.
Huh.
So sort of like a gateway drug, but
a bird,
better. Yeah. And so and I remember distinctly being a kid and seeing this silver-backed bird, or dark gray even, with a golden chest, a yellow belly, and just thinking this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Was this the first time Wyoming or?
Yeah, Wyoming. In fact, growing up in a house only like less than a mile up the road here, and I remember that was the first time. I can't tell you how old I was, probably 10 or 11 or something. And that was the first time that I truly saw a bird that was distinct from anything else. There weren't just some things flying in the air. But it wasn't until college, like 2012, 2013, that I really started looking these things up. And that was a Western kingbird, by the way. And I just have really liked birds ever since. It's hard to say, but yeah, I think that's it.
I love that. Some quiet guy, it's a tree. I don't know, tree. I think these are tree trees. Tan thinks he agrees with me. Maybe it's a birch. I think I mean, I don't know my trees either. I wish I did. This is something I'd like to get better at. Like, I just thought, oh, it's white with that kind of papery. If we could
It's
like feel it in person, I think we could tell if it was a birch because you could like, try to like rip the bark off, which you probably
oh
shouldn't do.
sure.
But I don't know.
I like how it's swaying in the wind. Another very Wyoming thing for trees to do.
Yeah. Oh, look at
So far, it's pretty accurate.
we have a friend here. Hello, friend. Goodbye, friend. Oh. I'm curious to know, are there any other bird people in chat? I know we have an angry ostrich, but do we have any people who are
Yeah.
interested in birding or know people who are interested in birding and bird watching? I think
And
it's
if
really
not,
cool.
you should. It's fun. It's easy to do too. Just look outside.
Sometimes that's harder than you think, right? It's funny, like we think, just look outside or go outside, and I just realized, how often do I actually look outside my window and really take the
Fair,
time to relax, and I need to do more of that.
fair. Yeah.
Oh gosh, it is impossibly hard to take care of Julia. The worst is when you get mad at her, like when she tries to cook her own food. You can't do anything without her, and she can't do anything without you. John says in chat, I think birds are cool, but I am not a birder myself. And that's okay. Maybe you just haven't found your gateway bird yet. We're just
That's right.
waiting.
One day you're gonna run into this some bird species, and it'll just be wow. I'm gonna write that down, and then you're hooked. You're trapped.
When she goes to sleep, you stay up for a few hours, drinking on the deck, watching baseball in the summer, college basketball in the winter, drinking then too. You start going out after you put her to bed. The first time you do it, you worry about her getting up and walking around while you're gone. Oh no. You put a chair in front of the bedroom door, or you trust that she sleeps like a rock. Game! Why? I don't like any of these. Ah.
Uh, well, let's do the trust. Sleep like a
Yeah,
rock.
because I feel like I don't want to like trap her in. Like she might like freak out. Like that's not good.
Right. I mean,
You go to the same bar at the boring end of Pearl Street. I've been to Pearl Street actually. Wait, Lucas, have you ever been to Colorado or Boulder?
oh, oh yeah. I've been to
Have
Colorado.
you been to Pearl Street? Do you know? It's actually there's two Pearl Streets. There's one in Boulder
That,
and then there's one in kind of like central Denver-ish.
oh, I can't say if I ever have. If I'm honest with you. If I ever did, I don't remember. Not to say I haven't been back, but I didn't log those in my memory.
No, that's all right. Well, you should go someday. It's just I guess this makes sense because they were talking about CU, like the University of Boulder at the very beginning, which is you can kind of see it when you're
Hmm.
walking around Pearl Street, which is
Oh,
very cool.
okay. 'Cause
Yes.
I've been to the campus, but I brief. It was like a drive-by visit.
Hmm.
Uh,
Pearl Street is indeed nice. Over time, you tell Sheila, the bartender, everything. It's a huge way off. You're home and in bed by 1 a.m. a couple nights a week. You look forward to those nights. 1989. Oh no. One night you are stopped at a
ooh.
DUI checkpoint. You blow a .10 and are taken to jail for the night. You consider trying to hide it, but you tell your sister-in-law, Susan. Julia's parents take the next plane from Australia. They can't believe the state your house is in. Then they tell you Julia's coming to live with them. You don't argue. You say you'll visit soon. A few weeks go by. Summer is coming, and you see an ad in a paper for a job. I miss getting a newspaper. I don't get the newspaper
Really?
anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, I have a digital subscription, so I get it in my email, I guess. But you're
Mm-hmm.
right. It's not like a thing you pick up anymore.
Yeah. Well, we take our job. Here we go. This is beginning of our new chapter of our lives. What an opening. You
Yeah.
It's so emotional.
And you feel closer to the character too at this point, right?
Yeah, because we had to make these difficult decisions that he had to make, and it really gets at the core of like, yeah, these are very human, difficult decisions. Also, I'm scared of heights, so this is probably something. I would probably do it in real life because there's stairs,
Oh
but if it was
yeah.
one of those like ladder stairs, I probably wouldn't do it because I.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the day and my mood because I'm kind of. It's not like I'm afraid of heights. I just prefer not to be.
Uh-huh.
I like to be a bit more secure.
This is really pretty. I'm gonna say that the entirety of this game.
It is. It's great. It's like a watercolor splash type thing is the word I think of, but I don't know if that's definitely not technical in any way. But I, yeah, I
Well,
agree.
I also appreciate that you can see the stars, and I feel like in real life, I'm almost never able to see stars like
Mm.
this, probably because I live, in a city and there's a lot of light pollution, and also I have like bad eyes. But I think, when it's an actual like dark place that somewhere's been polluted, like or protected from light pollution, it's really amazing
Oh,
how many stars you can see at night.
it is nice. Even here where I live, it's about a mile or so away from the town. There is some light pollution. And growing up, I don't remember being quite so bad. It shows you how things have changed.
We're gonna ignore Delilah for now. We're just gonna look around.
Oh, poor Delilah.
Okay,
So
so
it says of the Shoshone, which there is a Shoshone forest in Wyoming. So that's definitely a nod, I think, to the actual national forest in the state.
yeah, I see aspen here. I also see a birch. So we got maybe one of those trees was maybe there were aspens and birches.
Pick up your radio.
Delilah, shh, shh, we're talking.
Yeah, right, please.
We're looking at this poster. Yeah, I love the detail that they put into this game and like all the little things. Look at these books.
Yeah, and I saw, was there Indian paintbrush on that list by chance?
This is
That's the Wyoming state flower. I don't see it.
is
No,
there
that's okay.
yeah, I see
I
prairie
won't hold that against the
fire. Is
game.
that Philippi, golden aster, and a tall cup tail cup lupine? Yeah, no, not the other one, but maybe it'll show up elsewhere. Some quiet guy says, I do like blue jays. Those are very pretty.
Hey, yeah, blue jays are cool. They're mean but fun. I like them. Yeah, they're a good time, blue jays.
National Forest Guidebook. Oh, here we are. That's right. If you right click, okay, we're gonna go back to this poster. If you right
Okay,
click,
yeah.
it zooms
Let's
in.
get a real look at this now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, ways here. Yeah, blue spruce. I recognize 3 of those trees. Okay. Oh, and sagebrush. Yeah, that's a common thing.
Yeah.
I guess it's common in Nevada too, right?
Yeah, I think sagebrush is yeah, it's everywhere. Some quiet guy says, "Really? I guess I'm glad I never approached them." Blue jays.
Yeah, they're something else. I know in some skiing resorts, they're not blue jays, but they're gray jays. They're in the same family and they're similar personality traits. But if skiers have been known to hold up French fries and things, and the birds will catch it out of their hands.
Huh.
And I wouldn't recommend that with a blue jay, but I have seen people do that with like peanuts, like shelled peanuts. It's definitely worth a try if you're ever willing to be patient. And they'll land in your hand and everything. Pretty cool.
Lucas, it says, what does it say? The equality state?
Yes.
I can't read the top of it. Maybe it's just Wyoming. It's just hard to
Yeah, it
say.
says Wyoming. Yeah, and the equality state is our state motto. So there's a few things about this flag I have to mention first.
Okay.
I think they're trying to give a nod to the University of Wyoming, which, I mean, that's the university's colors. But everything else is kind of wrong about it. Like, it doesn't seem quite right, but I like the attempt.
So that's not the
But
mascot?
the equality state. No, not really.
Okay.
It is a cowboy, but not one on Steamboat, which is, I assume that's supposed to be Steamboat, which is on our license plates. Of course, I say that, and a bunch of people from Wyoming are throwing up their arms like, nope, I disagree. It's kind of a debate. What is the horse on our license plate? Anyway, I digress. Yeah, the equality state is our state motto. We were the first state in the union to grant women the right to vote permanently, which is an exciting thing. We were a territory when we did it the first time. And then when we became a state, we enshrined it in our constitution.
That's super cool. Do you know what year? Not to put you on a spot, but do you know?
No, I'm a historian. I know this. December 10th, 1869.
Do you even need to know? Like, it's not just the year. He knows the exact month, the day. He knows the time of day. It was at 2:10 p.m. that they.
I wish. Yeah, and I believe the person who voted for it had blue eyes. I have no idea, but it is a big deal, and it's something that I don't think as a state we talk about it enough these days.
No, no, that's
But
really awesome. And yeah, I don't know if other people in chat knew this about Wyoming. That's really cool.
yeah, the very first in the Union. I mean, technically New Jersey, but they got rid of it. So we are the first because we kept it forever.
Take that, New Jersey.
Yeah, because they got rid of it before Wyoming was even a territory. So
now, is this also...
I have to be fair.
Yeah, is wild and free also like a Wyoming motto?
We see it a lot, but I don't know if it's an official motto.
Okay.
In fact, there's a lot of these things that I'm not good at knowing, these sort of mottos. I live in the Powder River Basin, for example, as the Powder River runs around here somewhere. And there was a phrase that says Powder River, and then someone else supposed to say, let her buck. That's just what people would say. And it's like, no one's ever said that here. I've never heard that in a serious way, ever. But everyone else around the state seems to think that's a thing. You're like, no, it's not something we do. I don't know.
That's funny.
So sure, wild and free.
Okay.
Why not?
Unless someone else from Wyoming says otherwise.
Right, which I'm happy to talk to them about it.
All right, so let's chat with Delilah. Let's get to know her. This is our supervisor before we move on to our next day.
Hello? Whoever this is?
It's Henry, right?
Yeah.
I'm Delilah.
Yeah, that's what the guy said on the phone.
So, what's wrong with you?
Excuse me?
People take this job to get away from something. So, what's wrong?
What's wrong with you?
That's a great idea. Go ahead.
Look, I just hiked for 2 days, so I don't really follow whatever it is you're doing right now.
You take a stab at what's wrong with me.
Fine, then can I sleep forever?
Sure, buddy. Okay, now go ahead.
What a first conversation. Okay, should we say you killed 3 ex-husbands, rebelling against mom, or nobody back home can stand you? Oh no.
Oh, killed 3 ex-husbands.
Okay.
Of course.
You've killed 3 husbands. You're a black widow, and you're just out here until the heat dies down, and then you'll kill again.
Ooh, very good. Bravo, Henry.
Okay, I sleep now?
Not quite. Now you.
Okay, good night, bye.
But 9 times out of 10, folks out here simply got dumped.
Huh, is that it?
Close?
Good night.
Good night. Welcome to the job.
Firewatch.
Nice. Title screen. Yes.
We finished the game. No, it's just beginning.
Right, the cold open is finished. Yeah.
All right, day 1.
Well, I guess good afternoon. You probably slept like a rock. Anyway, there's still a few hours of daylight to get some work in. I can see you at your desk, so call me when you're ready.
Delilah, where are you? I'm looking out my window.
Where is she?
How can you see us? Also, what a nice view. I guess earlier it was the shades were down, but now the windows are up.
Oh yeah, now we can see everything.
Yeah. Okay, the game is making me pick up the radio.
Hey, sorry, guess I slept in.
Can I point out
Relaxing.
that he has a picture of a raccoon pasted up there?
Jesus.
Like of all the like.
I love it.
6:45.
I think that's great.
That's a good face.
Don't worry about it.
It is. It's so angry.
For a day. But now that you're up, let me quickly get you acquainted with the job. There's a thing in the middle of your room with a round map on it. Do you see it?
Okay, yeah, I see it.
This is the Osborne Firefinder, invented in 1914 by W.B.
Osborne?
You use this a lot. You guessed it. What the fuck?
What is it?
Nothing.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, there's a little bit of like cursing, so we can skip to day 2 after this. Yeah, language lady.
West-facing window. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Confirm what Delilah's seeing.
Fireworks?
The mission is great.
Oh yeah, we do see fireworks. Okay, so in day 1, we examine the fireworks and try to figure out who the culprit is, but I'm gonna skip to day 2, so I apologize. We're not gonna confirm Delilah. Oh, I found the book.
Oh,
Lucas,
there it is.
I found
there
it.
It is. I knew it.
Sorry, Delilah. George Sinclair. Oh, I can't. Okay, the camera is a little bit funky. The Birds of Wyoming, featuring every species statewide with more than 300 illustrations, photographs, and maps. What a great book.
Oh, yeah, very handy. That's really what you need in a bird book.
It just dropped. Oh, wait, can you see the back?
Violently dropped. Yeah, that's...
George
That's nice.
Sinclair, the godfather of, oh, this is hard, amateur ornithology, brings you the stunningly curated guide to the birds of Wyoming. For over 40 years, Sinclair has traversed the continent, state by state, crafting definitive guides that bird watchers trust, and this edition is no different. I think someone said, I'm not sure if this book exists in real life. This might be a fake book, in which case it's like really fascinating. So there.
Well, it's a lot of detail, but
yeah.
they're I mean, from it sounds like on the back they're drawing from every beginner's guide to birding ever, right? I mean, it's I mean, we've all gotten your first bird guide, I'm sure. So we all know what I'm talking about. And this idea that what that says is exactly the same thing. And it's like your very first Sibley guide or Audubon guide or Peterson's guide or something.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a carbon copy just with George Sinclair.
Do you recognize these birds? I know it's kind of hard to see, but so he mentions a Cooper's hawk, a sharp-skinned hawk, a sage grouse, ruffed grouse. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are real birds. But it's probably a sharp-shinned hawk.
Yeah,
but
sharp-shinned.
I can see.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard to read, so
yeah.
I gotcha. I mean, I've never heard of a sharp-skinned hawk. That'd be frightening.
I think you're right. It's probably shouldn't.
I mean, like, oh.
Scaly hawk. Yeah.
It's like, there it is. Yeah, sharp-shinned. Yeah, but all those are real birds, and all of them can be found in Wyoming, which is really cool. So far, it's 100% very accurate.
All right, we are gonna skip to day 2. Day 2. And now, this is the fun part where Lucas and I are going to wander around the woods and chat. And then we'll take a break in about like 15 minutes before we move on to the second part of our stream. Angry Ostrich said, lizard hawk. That sounds great. All right, so...
It's funny, speaking of lizard hawk, right? It's funny because as a bird person, and a lot of people aren't so into birds as me for some reason. And so some folks would ask me, so what is this? And I'd say, oh, that's a Cassin's finch or a western kingbird or a western tanager. And they're like, you're just making that up. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm not. Someone made it up, but not me. I mean, they're actual birds. So when they see something, they're like, oh, that's a Lucas's finch. They're like, no, come on, don't even like, or like the purple-headed swan or something. Like, there's no such thing as a purple-headed swan. There's never been a purple-headed swan. Like, but I get that all the time. I'm like, come on.
If I discover a purple-headed swan, I'm going to name it after you, just so you know.
Yeah, please do. And I don't know if this is true, but when ornithology was first becoming a real science, there was an unspoken rule among scientists, ornithologists, to not name birds after yourself. So they always named them after colleagues. Like the Bard sandpiper wasn't named by Bard, but it was named by a friend of his, probably.
Sorry, in chat we got a comment. The purple-headed Lucas swan. Love it. Yeah, we're gonna. That's it.
It's a code 5, super rare.
All right, we're going to. I guess we'll explain briefly. So there's this hole here that wasn't there before. So on day 1, when we come back from our adventures, we come back and we find that someone has like thrown something like in or out like the window, like maybe like a typewriter. But either way, we don't know who did it, and it's a little bit scary, and it shakes us up. And then we go to sleep, and here we are. It's day 2, and things are a little bit. You can
see we've confiscated the fireworks in the corner there.
Yes. Oh, there's a photo of Julia. That's nice. We didn't see her, but I guess that's us too.
Selfies before the phone camera switch.
That's right. That's right. That really is. Oh, oh my gosh.
Ooh,
Someone said in this game, you just kind of yeet things instead of, okay, we had to put it back.
I didn't realize you were so angry today, Kathleen.
No. Okay, we're going to gently put this back. Okay, put back.
This is the rest of the stream. As we attempt to put the photograph
I just
back.
want to put it back nice. There we go.
There we go. Excellent.
Welcome in, Cypher. How are you? Okay, let's open a door, and here we go. Oh, I love that we can hear the wind. That's great.
Okay, so right away, could you feel that blast of cold air? I know I just did.
Definitely.
I'm pretty well immersed.
Yeah, what are winters like near where you live? Is it
cold, miserable.
Do you not like the snow?
I'm not. I am definitely anti-snow.
Okay.
I mean, I get it and I understand its importance, but I don't. Because I don't have a truck, you see. And so if it snows too much, no amount of tires can get my car out. It's a nightmare. I'm trapped in like a box almost every year, but I work from home, so it's not a big deal.
All right, Lucas. This is interesting because, all right, so this is the map of, I guess, where we are. And when I met with you, you said a lot of these places are actually fake places.
Yeah, and so full disclosure, I've never been to the Shoshone National Forest, but I looked at a map, and none of these are really real. But things like the Medicine Wheel, for example, there is a official Medicine Wheel historic site on the base of the eastern end of the Bighorns, several miles away from the Shoshone National Forest. So I'm thinking that a lot of this is an amalgamation of a bunch of things that look a lot like what makes Wyoming cool, right? So you got the river running through the forest, the mountains, the Medicine Wheel, the rivers, the lakes, and of course the nod into the names of all these places, like Beartooth Point. You would totally believe that that's in Wyoming, but as far as I know, it's not in the Shoshone Forest. So things like that. I'm not complaining. I just want to make sure that it's out there in case someone
wants
something out.
someone wants to try and find Two Forks Lookout and go to the Ruby River in Wyoming.
Which it might be there, but as far as I know, it's not in the forest anywhere.
Okay, well, we're just gonna wander around for a little bit. Actually, let's see. I mean, okay, so we're here. I mean, we could go to the Medicine Wheel. I don't think I've been further north. I don't think I've ever been to Beartooth Point in this game. I have not finished this game. I've only played a little bit of it.
What?
I know.
I think I played it once. Yeah, I did play it once, I think. I played it in grad school, though, so I was stressed out and full of anxiety, so I don't remember anything.
When is anyone ever in grad school and not stressed out and full of anxiety?
Right.
I think if you are, you're probably you're not in grad school. You're just like visiting someone who happens
You're
to
right.
be.
Yeah, you're just there. Yeah. Talk about immersion. I heard there's different endings to this game, but I've never gone back to replay or to see if that's true.
I believe it. Oh, what we should do? Let's see. I would love to go to the lake if we can. I think we might be able to find some birds there. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah, and in real life, right? Lakes are perfect birding spots, especially in the morning. For those of you who are curious to try, almost any lake, 7 a.m. You'll see some birds.
What if you
Unless
aren't a morning person? Can you go like what about late at night? Can you go in the evening?
Yeah, you want to look about twilight type time, right before sunset. Birds get active that time of day too. I'm not a morning person either, but I tell you what, I'll get up for a good bird. There's a promise of a common merganser or something. Yeah, sign me up. I'm there.
Do you have a list? Like, do you have like a printed list or a notebook of birds that you like keep track of? Like, when you like see a new bird or when you're like taking notes, do you like what do you do? Is it in your head or do you take notes?
So when I was first getting started, like seriously birding, I would do that. I would print out a list of birds that I knew were going to be in a local area. And I usually pull this from online. I'd go to like a birding hotspot or something and say, yeah, you can just pull a list of birds that have been seen the past 30 days or something. And I'd go with that list and I would look through the guidebook the day before at just those birds on the list. And then when I'm out there birding, I challenged myself not to look at the bird guide. And I would just try to identify the birds on the list based off of memory. And eventually, as I marked them off, I got to the point where now I only look at the guide if I have to, and I always have it with me. But it's recommended when you're birding not to look at the guide when you're in the field because the point is to look at the bird. It defeats the purpose. And so learning how to do that was a bit of a challenge. But in any case, what I'm getting at is eventually I have moved past the lists, and now I go birding anywhere, and I just don't bring a list because I feel I'm familiar enough now with the way birds work. I just don't need to usually carry a list. But if I'm going to a new area, I do look at a list so I kind of have an idea of what I'll be looking for. But I don't carry a list with me anymore.
Okay. In chat, some quiet guy says, is it strange that I'm a morning person and a night owl? I don't think so. I think it just...
No, yeah, Yeah, I mean, you got the best of both worlds here.
Yeah.
Is what it sounds like.
Are you just like really tired in the middle of the day? Oh, I don't think I can go down. Yeah, afternoon is
Nothing like a
bedtime.
good nap. It's yeah. So yeah, and by the way, this is very simulation of what I do. I just kind of walk around in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
I stop more often. Like I can hear a crow around the game right now. By the way, that's definitely a crow.
I did hear that,
And,
but I don't know where it's coming from.
yeah, I can't say either. But that's what I would do. I would walk, and if I hear something, I'd stop and look around. I'd sit down, I wait, or I'm pretty slow moving. But that's the idea. If I move fast, the birds won't come to you, and they'll move away because you're moving. But if you're slow about it, they'll show up, and so
Lucas,
that's why I don't move too fast.
what are your top 3 birds? I don't think I've ever asked anyone that, but what are your top 3 birds? Do you have a tier list of birds?
I do. Of course, yes. I push up my glasses again. Yeah, it's really tough for me, but I can answer the top 3. So the first would be the Western kingbird, right?
Okay.
It's my gateway bird. It's a beautiful bird. It's worth a Google. It's plain, but not really. It's amazing. And they're noisy and territorial, and they're great. I love them. And they take care of mosquitoes, which is nice.
Yes, I hate mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah, mosquitoes. My second favorite bird, it would have to be the blue-winged teal. It's a duck. And teal is kind of a misnomer. It's kind of teal color, but not really. It looks kind of like a boring bird until you see its wings open up and you see this gorgeous blue tint to them. Oh, they're gorgeous. Little tiny ducks. They're smaller than a mallard, but blue-winged teals, I love seeing them. And there's different teals. There's the green-winged teal and the cinnamon teal, which is literally just a cinnamon-colored duck just floating around. It's
And
really
it
cool.
smells
Anyway,
like cinnamon too if you get close
yeah,
enough.
I wish. Wouldn't that be great? Just that it leaves behind little, cinnamon. But yeah, so blooming teal has to be my second. And my third favorite bird, it rotates quite a bit. This year, my third favorite bird will have to be the shrike, the loggerhead shrike in particular. They're the only predatory songbird in North America.
What does that mean, a predatory songbird?
Yeah, so normally raptors and those sort of owls, these sort of things, they're predators. And of course, all birds are predators, right? So all birds will eat meat and stuff, but only the shrike as a songbird will hunt for its own food. That isn't a bug or something. So shrikes will eat mice and things like that, and they're about the size of a robin.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what's cool about the shrike is that they'll catch a mouse or something, and they'll kill it in most cases. But what they do is that they impale the mouse on a thorn or a barbed wire fence.
Gosh.
So there'll be like a mouse carcass just hanging on a fence somewhere, and they'll come back to it to eat off of it throughout the day or whatever. It is the coolest thing. You know you have a shrike when you see like a thorn bush or a barbed wire fence or a cactus and there's like animals stuck to it. It's worth a Google to see if you haven't seen. Eat lunch first, but definitely worth a Google.
Okay.
In fact, I saw one just this evening, about an hour before we jumped on the stream, actually. I was out walking around and I saw a mouse barbed wire fence.
And you
amazing.
knew there's a shrike.
Yeah, I about fell over. I was so happy to
Aww.
see it. I just love seeing what birds do, and that's just one of the things. So yeah, those are my top 3. They're great. All worth a Google, and all birds are great. So just because I have a top 3 doesn't mean I love them all equally.
Do you have any like bucket list birds? Like, are there birds where you'd have to travel to like another country or like, somewhere out of the state to see it for the first time?
That's a good question. So first things first, I'm a follower of the American Birding Association list. So that only covers about 700, 900 species. And I don't know all of them by heart, just to be fair. And so when it comes to global bird species, I don't know them very well. I mean, you could show me a picture of a Peking duck, for example, and I'll have no idea what that is. Like, I don't know what that is. And so I don't know global birds very well. But there's so many on the American Birding Association list, which includes the United States, the continental United States, Alaska, Canada, and recently Hawaii was included. So that's the birds on the ABA list. So those are the ones I'm most familiar with. Those are the birds I interact with. Those are the ones I study with. But of course, there are plenty of birds on my list. There's a phrase. It's called the nemesis bird.
Okay.
And that's a bird that you've always wanted to see, but can't quite see. Like every time you hear about it, you go, it's gone. For me, that's the Lewis's woodpecker, which is very common. And they are all over the Black Hills. But all throughout college, I'd have a friend call me up who lived in an area where they always show up, apparently. And I'd go and like, oh, he was just here. And I'd wait. Never shows up. Lewis's woodpecker. I've never seen one. Never.
Do you believe they exist? Like. Maybe they're. Maybe
they have to. Oh, they have to. I mean, they just taunt me, the Lewis's woodpecker.
I love that. I've never heard of a nemesis bird. That's so funny.
Yeah, and other people have different stories, but every bird person that takes lists and does this sort of thing has a nemesis bird, at least one. I have a few. Okay. The pileated woodpecker is another one. I just missed that sucker twice a couple years ago, a few years ago. About every time, and they're not Wyoming, the pileated woodpecker. So I have to travel somewhere, but I always miss them. I went birding in Oregon. It was a long day. It was rainy, but I got like 15 species on my life list. So the first time I've ever seen them. Really exciting. And I get to the end, and there was a person there. I said, "Oh, you just missed a pileated woodpecker." I'm like, "Of course I did. Of course. Oh, no. Of course I just missed a pileated woodpecker." So woodpeckers are definitely my nemesis birds. I can't find them.
I'm taking a break here because I thought it was such a pretty view.
Oh, very much so. There's a lot of Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom moments in this game. Right, where you turn around a corner and suddenly there's just wildlife and a big open scene.
Yeah, I love the artwork. Cause you can see like the brush strokes, and it just gives that impression of like when you see like a cloud moving or like little trails. Yeah. And I love that. Some quite.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Says this game looks really nice. I've been wanting to check it out for a while. Yeah. I mean, it has just such a really, like, I guess, like, devoted, like, people who play it. Like, multiple people told me, Kathleen, you have to play this game. And someday I will finish it. I just have not yet.
I heard it's not too long. I think it's like 6 hours. I mean, I know it's 6 hours, but, it's, in terms of some games these days, they take forever to play.
Yeah. Oh, this is
funny. I like this poster. Defend our frontier.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love this sort of art style, like the kind that you see for all the national parks. Like, I would love to visit all the national parks someday and collect all the postcards for them. Really, really nice.
That would be cool.
This note says hot pot, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because
hot pot.
They had hot pot there, which I love hot pot, or if there's something else going on.
I wonder if it's referencing like a Yellowstone, like nod, like a geyser or something. Hot pot.
Yeah, Yellowstone is
sort
beautiful.
Of hot water. Yeah, everyone talks about Yellowstone, and it's worthy to talk about. It's excellent, and I hope I'm not coming across that I don't like the space.
Push us up nose.
Yellowstone is. It's just Wyoming is such a big state. And I travel around a lot, you know this, like through work and things. And people say from Wyoming, that's the only thing they know, which is fine. But it's there's a lot of other cool places to see in Wyoming that's cheaper and just as great to see.
It's fair. It's like people who have never been to Nevada, they only know Las Vegas, and that's it. So they think, okay, well, Las Vegas equals Nevada, which is not true because there's other cities, like there's Reno, Carson City, Elko, but also Las Vegas is not just desert. Did you know that Nevada is the most mountainous state in the United States?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it. Yeah, you would think like Colorado or maybe somewhere along the East Coast that like by the Appalachian. No, but it's Nevada. Nevada has the most mountains.
You have the Ruby Mountains, right?
We do have the Ruby Mountains.
Yeah. So I only know that. I only know that because the Himalayan snowcock, which is a bird, can only survive in the United States, in this hemisphere, in the Ruby Mountains. It's the only location besides the Himalayas where it lives.
How did it get here? Did someone bring it here?
Oh, people just bringing birds over, yeah. In fact, that's how a lot of bird species are, like the starlings, for example. Some guy thought it'd be cool to bring all the Shakespearean birds to the continent because, that's what they did. It's so, but the irony is the starlings are doing better here than they are in their natural habitat. So what do you do?
Yeah. We are going to follow this. My goal is to get to Jonesy Lake, and maybe we'll walk around the lake a bit, and then we'll, take our break and come back for our interview.
Sweet. Yeah, I like your following a little crick here. It's nice.
Is that your dialect? You say crick instead of creek? I had
it depends.
We streamed with a linguist the other day, and we were talking about different, I guess, things that people say that kind of identify where they are in the states, and I guess crick is one of them. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, growing up, that's what I was always about to say, and of course now I say creek sometimes, I say crick other times. Just depends. It's in the evening, so I guess it's crick time as opposed to creek time.
I like crick. Man, I guess I'm not. Maybe I have good waterproof shoes because I've been walking in this water, and there's nothing I hate more than soggy socks.
Oh, yeah, soggy socks. No fun, man.
Lucas, was that a woodpecker? Did you hear that? There was like this I don't know if it'll come back now, but it sounded like a woodpecker. I don't know. We have to listen for it. So are these all real birds, though? Like, do you recognize these calls?
A few of the calls I do, yes. Some are out of place, like that one that kind of squeaked. I don't know what that was, but that doesn't mean it's not a bird. It just means I don't know it. But I recognize a few. I don't have like a really good ear for birds. I mean, I do, like I can hear them, but there's only so many species I can tell you for an absolute certainty what they are based off their call.
No, Delilah, we're busy.
Delilah, come on.
We're
trying to listen.
In chat, Asher says, Lucas is here, so we can only hear the woodpecker. We can't see it.
Yeah, right. That sounds about right. Yeah. Probably a Lewis's woodpecker. And really good birders, they can tell you the different species of woodpecker based off its drumming on a tree, like when it's pecking into a tree. Like they can tell you the pattern and what it is. It's amazing, and I'm super jealous of that talent. And they say, well, just listen to the MP3s. I'm like, yes, because as much as I love birds, I don't think I can sit there a few hours every day and listen to woodpeckers strum, trying to memorize the strumming. But it's an amazing talent. That's the mallards probably, yeah. I don't see them, but I hear them.
What about that squeaking sound?
I have no idea what that is. I'm trying to figure it out. It's probably a mammal or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe not every sound has to necessarily be a bird.
Yeah, mammals exist too, I guess.
I want to go back and see if we can find that or hear the woodpecker again. Have you ever seen a crane or a heron?
Yeah, I've seen several species of each. There's sandhill cranes are really popular, and so are blue herons in terms of their commonalities. And they always fly through Wyoming, especially sandhill cranes. In fact, if you go to the North Platte River in Nebraska, around, I want to say April, it's the best time, maybe even a little bit earlier, late March. Anyway, if you go in April, the sandhill cranes are migrating through there, and they land to rest at the North Platte River because it's so plentiful of space and food. And there's thousands of them.
Wow, that's a lot.
Like there'd be so many in the river that they form islands. Like they just take over. It's amazing. And to hear them flying out in the early evening to go feed, it sounds like this louder and louder army of birds. It's just like and they're loud, noisy birds anyway. And so it's just it's an experience worth having if you haven't had it. Even if you're not a bird person, you'll be awed by their magnificence. Sandhill cranes are great.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, I would like to go see that someday. Oh, can you hear that? It's
I did hear a strum.
it's really faint. Yeah.
I can't tell you what it was, but it probably won't show up.
Okay. Well, we made it to the lake. We didn't see the woodpecker because yeah, we're here with Lucas, so we'll never see a woodpecker. But we did we have heard lots of other birds. So yeah, I think Lucas, this is where we will take our like 5-ish minute break. This is our chance for people to get up and stretch, drink some water. Maybe go look outside for a little bit if you can. Let us know if you see any birds, and then we will be back. So all right, I'm gonna quit, quit this game, and then we're gonna go to our break screen. So we'll be right back, everyone. Thank you. Hello, everyone. We are back with our guest, Lucas from Wyoming Humanities. I hope you had a good break. Lucas, I had a lot of fun walking around the woods with you in Firewatch, and I just totally lost track of time. And I felt like I feel like a walk around the woods, you need more than half an hour or an hour. You really need a solid couple of hours to take it all in. So I am with you when it comes to walking slowly.
Always. Yeah. Uh,
So I guess now is the fun part of our stream. Well, every part is fun, but here's an extra fun part where people in chat, if you weren't already going to ask Lucas questions during the game, you get to ask Lucas questions now, whether it's about his work at Wyoming Humanities, about his interests, about birding, about the books behind him. This is the fun part where we get to learn more about Lucas. So I guess I'll get us started here, which is something that I like to ask everyone, at the beginning, which is, what is your origin story? And by that, I mean, how did you get to where you are today? I don't think you got bit by a bird. No, you have like bird superpowers,
yeah. You were going right where I was.
yeah. How did you end up at Wyoming Humanities?
Oh, wow. Good question. So I was a substitute teacher while I was finishing up my master's degree. I moved back to Gillette to just write my thesis. It was cheaper, more efficient that way at the time. And if you have never substitute taught, it's worth the experience. And so I was doing all these things. And when I finally got my master's, I saw this job pop up on Wyoming Humanities, not in the newspaper, oddly enough, but on a website, a more traditional way for us, I suppose, for our generation. And I applied. I didn't get that job, but instead I got a Museum on Main Street coordinator position. It was only supposed to be temporary. It was part-time. And I loved it. It was great. And apparently they liked me too, because now I'm full-time and doing a whole bunch of stuff. So it was a win-win. And this was 2.5 years ago, roughly.
Wow.
I lose track of time.
During the pandemic.
For sure, 2 years ago. Okay, so 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, tail end of all that, for sure. Yeah.
And so I guess you got your start with history. What got you interested in history and political science?
So I understand there's a lot of discussion that can take place, but I read David McCullough's Truman when I was in high school, and I fell in love with this book. I thought, well, history's pretty cool, and I really like politics because Truman, I'm sure you know this, he was the president of the United States for a while. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to be a history teacher. And that didn't work out. And so I thought, well, I'll just double major in political science and history because that's very marketable. And that's kind of what happened. I just fell into place. And then I took a year off and I went to grad school and I thought, let's just do a master's in history. Do a law school or history. And if that history sounded more fun, I was right. And I just went for it. Well, I don't know if I'm right. I've never been to law school, but I'm sure I'm right. And I just went right for it. History.
Were you like a history buff when you were younger too? Like, has it always been like US history, like global history? Like, what is it about history?
Oh boy, that's hard. I didn't prepare for this one. You'd think I would know. What I like about history is I compare it to colorful spheres. And history is great because anything can happen. And I know it sounds weird because you're like, well, it already happened. Well, see, that's the problem. It didn't. I mean, it did, but not really. Like with one document, you can get 3 or 4 different interpretations of the same thing. So you get a letter and it proves something, and someone else will see something very different in that letter, the tone of the person. And we have all of our people biases at the time and today. So what's great about history is that it's always growing, and it's always, the interpretation of it is always changing. So it's a constant challenge. People think, oh, it already happened. It's like, well, sure, like December 10th, 1869, Wyoming granted women the right to vote, but there's so much more to that than just that date. I mean, that date is set in stone, just like 2 + 2 equals 4, right? But there's so much around it that is human and alive. So that's my elevator pitch for history.
I appreciate your take on that, because I think me personally, when I was growing up and taking history, like required history in middle school and high school, for me it was always like, oh gosh, it's all about the tests. You have to memorize the dates, you have to get the names right, the people right. So it's like these like facts, but none of the context, if that makes sense. Like I wasn't my teacher didn't get us excited about, all the very human side of it. It was just, okay, just on what date did this happen? Next.
Yes.
And then what
Yep,
happened next?
that's how I was taught too. And I think a lot of people have that experience. And that's not a fun way to teach history, for one. It's just not effective either. I mean, date memorization is part of it, sure, but not really. It's like always having a calculator with you. It's good to know these dates. It's fun, but it's not necessary. You don't need to have that. It's the why and the how and the who that makes it history. The date is just that placeholder to get you started. It's doing history a disservice to teach it that way, frankly.
I'm glad we're chatting about this because I think it's a little bit like the humanities in a way, right? So I think some people have a very rigid, maybe like academic understanding of what the humanities or history, which is part of the humanities, are like. But really, when you dig into it, right, there's more to it than just facts or, a right way and a wrong way. There's, as humans, like we know this, like we're living history right now. And I can tell you my birthday, but then there's what happened on my birthday, all the anticipation leading up to it. Maybe I didn't celebrate my birthday this year because it was on like a Thursday, and so I did it on a Saturday instead. Like there are just a lot of other things surrounding it.
It's a great metaphor. I like that. It's easy to grasp too. I really like that. It's perfect. And I see the humanities as like a glue that keeps everything else together. Like we have science, engineering, math, computer science, all this other stuff. It's very important, very interesting, especially kernel space. It's worth a Google learning what kernel space is. It's wild. And so, but the humanities, it's like the glue that makes that stuff possible. And I think in the moment, it's hard to know that, but thinking about it, it's like, yeah, I mean, science just wouldn't be science without all that other stuff, the human part of it. It's like the Force in Star Wars. Like it binds us and it surrounds all living things. It's the humanities.
Yeah, I can see your hands like you're ready to use the Force on our viewers.
Yeah, right.
We have a question for you in chat. So this is going back, I guess, to the game when we were chatting about traveling and nature. The question is, do you have any really memorable moments of serenity that you have had in nature? And I guess a two-parter. So A, have you had any really memorable moments of serenity in nature? And B, or two, what is the most interesting place you have ever visited or seen?
Okay, tough questions. All right, so first one, the serenity. Yes, I have, and probably several times. But the thing that came to mind, going back to that Oregon trip, I went with some people and it was a mistake. No, I loved it. It was a great trip, but they're not bird people. So like, oh, I got to stop. Anyway, the whole thing. They let me go on my own at one point. Anyway, my moment of serenity in this case, I can't tell off the top of my head right now what park I was in, but it was really raining. It's Oregon. What do you do, right? and near the coast. So of course, like March or something. Yeah, March. It was just pouring down rain. And then when it stopped raining, these 3 Pacific wrens popped out of this log. And I just had this I don't know how long I was there for. It could have been 5 minutes, could have been 20 minutes, but it didn't matter. That's all that mattered, were these 3 Pacific wrens that hunkered in this log to get through the rain, just like I was underneath a tree to get. I mean, that was a serene moment for me. And there's probably been other times, but that came to mind right away. I really liked that moment.
Did you have an umbrella or no umbrella?
No,
Wow.
Because, I mean, what a mistake, right? You just go, I got my binoculars, got a satchel, I got some snacks, let's go. It's just, there's no umbrellas here. I did not prepare. But that kind of made part of the experience, I think. I was soaked at the end of that trip. But most interesting places I've been, that's hard to say. I've been to a lot of cool places, I think. Since we're talking about Wyoming, I'm going to stick to just Wyoming, like an interesting place in Wyoming. I really, really enjoy visiting the Red Desert, which is in the south central. Yeah, it's in the south central part of the state, southeast part of the state. It's amazing. A lot of public land in Wyoming, so you can just go pretty much anywhere. And the Red Desert's so cool. I love it. You can see old homesteads in the distance of days gone by, of these dilapidated buildings, and of course the birds are always good. But pretty much anywhere I go, there has to be birds, or I just won't go. It's just, the Red Desert's one of my favorite places to be. Actually, I really like it. And I have a good friend who lives in Rock Springs, Wyoming, just outside the Red Desert, and he always takes me up in a Jeep to explore. And it's great because he knows it like the back of his hand, so we never get lost. Or at least if we ever did, I never knew. So it worked out.
That's awesome. I'll have to check out the Red Desert.
Good question.
Then. Yeah. John says thank you for the answer to those questions. Lucas, I would love to learn a little bit more about what you do at Wyoming Humanities, because you have a different hats. I think, we're both programming people, and we're also both Center for the Book people. Not every Center for the Book, which is the affiliate for the Library of Congress Center for the Book, is housed at a humanities council. Some are housed at state libraries or public libraries or other institutions. But for both of us, ours happens to be at our humanities council, and both of us happen to be sort of the director or whatever for the Center for the Book. But you do other things. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, I can. You're totally right. I wear a lot of hats. I'm a multi-hat employee. I have several hats, and I love that about my job, actually, because if I get a little overwhelmed with something, I can just pivot and do something else.
Yeah, take off that hat and put on the other hat.
Right, just wear a different one. I'm always busy, and I really like that about my job. In case my boss is listening, I love my job. And so our mission in Wyoming Humanities is to strengthen our democracy through the humanities, right? So it's to create an environment of understanding, inspiration, creativity, wisdom, and idea sharing, all those cliches that just fit perfectly. And what I see in my job is everything I do, either that through the Center for the Book or Museum on Main Street or the United We Stand project and any number of things, focuses on making that happen. And I think it's more than just promoting democracy. It's like when we expose people to new concepts and old concepts and all these ideas, we create a foundation for critical thinking. And so anything I do, I have that in mind, because I think it's a misnomer to think you have to be educated to think critically, and that's just not true. And so I try to bring programming to the state where everyday people can just sit down and just get something from it. Take home more than just a bunch of notes or real highbrow stuff. Just be able to take home something meaningful and then think about it for some time. And I think that reflects in a lot of what we do as a council anyway. But that's really how I see my job and what I do. I don't know if I answered your question, but I answered a question with that answer. I feel like.
No, I love that. I love that about your answer about your council, that you try to create these meaningful moments for everyday people to take something home. And even if, again, like I think we're saying that sometimes the humanities are thought of as just very purely academic things, but the humanities are part of everyday life, really. And I'm wondering if you can explain what Museum on Main Street is, because not everyone might know. I don't think we have it here in Nevada, or if we do, I don't think we have it at our council. Mm-hmm. So what is Museum on Main Street?
Oh, man. It's a wonderful, awesome partnership with the Smithsonian Museum. Specifically, and I'm going to use this acronym a lot, so the Smithsonian Institute Traveling Exposition Service.
Okay.
Also known as CITES.
Yes.
So it's a partnership with CITES and humanities councils. And what they do is, we're on the very basic level, my job is to help bring Smithsonian quality exhibits to the state of Wyoming, to communities full of people who may or may not have had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. to see exhibits of this quality. And they're portable, they're fun, they're exciting, and most importantly of all, you learn a lot. They're excellent. And you select host venues. That's what I do. I help select these host venues of museums and libraries, community centers all over the state. Usually about 6 at a time. And currently, in fact, next year, starting in May of 2024, we have Spark, Places of Innovation, coming to Wyoming. And this whole exhibit focuses on the spark that creates innovation. What is the environment you have to be in to create something new. And that's not just technological innovation, it's definitely featured, but that's not the only thing. There's cultural heritage innovation, social innovation, and of course, artistic innovation. What is the environment like that creates this innovative thinking in a community? And it's great for rural places, because what is more rural than innovation, right? I mean, I just growing up around here among all these ranchers and knowing all these families, like they invent stuff every day, and they find stuff every day to make life just a little bit easier. And you see that all over the state of Wyoming. And so I'm really excited for this exhibit to arrive. But on the base, that's what Museum on Main Street is. It's that partnership to bring these exhibits in.
That's really awesome. And then you also do, I'm trying to think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've done like podcast work, right? A little bit, or you're making kits as well?
Yeah, so I am a co-host of one of our podcasts called Winds of Change. It's available where all podcasts are found. You definitely should check it out. We talk about a lot of fun stuff, great things, from wild horses to chess, a little bit of birds, almost always. we interview very amazing people from all over the state and in the tri-state area. And there's another podcast that we do called What's Your Why? That I'm not a co-host to, but I should plug it. Our producer, Emmy DeGrappa, interviews really interesting people, also available everywhere. You definitely should check that out too. So there's just two of what we do. So one of these things I'm doing, speaking of kits, there's a book called Democracy Under Construction that years ago, before my time, in some fashion, we partnered with the University of Wyoming Institute for Humanities Research that created this book of essays. I'll talk about democracy. There's a historical context with essays by Abraham Lincoln, Jefferson Douglass, all these people. And then the second half of the book, which is most interesting for many people in Wyoming, which are contemporary Wyoming people writing about democracy in the state of Wyoming, what it means to them. It's a very a lot of diverse voices. And so for a long time, this book, I guess, just sat on some shelves somewhere. So I said, well, we should do something with this. A lot of partnerships, and we came up with this kit idea. So the idea of it's kind of like a book club kit. You pick it up, take it home, whatever. But what's great about it is that it's flexible. So it's designed for any group of any size to pick it up and do whatever they want with it. And we give them as much resources as possible to make that happen. They can do a traditional book club. They can do traditional reading. They can do a panel. They can have a speaker. I mean, they can do what they want with it. And to me, it's a very new thing for us because it's totally, you're on your own, kind of. It's kind of like a build your own adventure type of thing. And it's great. I work with them every step of the way to help them field ideas, whatever else. And I can't really say right now because it's not set in stone, but there may or may not be a group that's interested in using this to help get voters registered.
Cool.
But that's what this program gives people the opportunity to do. It's like an excuse to do cool things around this book. So I'm excited as the months go by, we keep getting bigger with it, and I'm giddy about it all the time.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see where it goes and what ends up happening. Quick question for you in chat when you mentioned Winds of Change. Are you a fan of the Scorpions, or is that just a coincidence? I don't know that reference. Is that a band?
Yeah, I don't either. The Scorpions. It must be a coincidence. I have no idea. The Scorpions. Should check it out.
Yeah, all these good references all the time. No, thank you for sharing that about the podcast. I love, plugging our coworkers' work whenever, wherever, whenever, however we can. Another thing I want to ask you about, Lucas. So I think this is probably how Lucas and I probably know each other, because I remember when you joined, or maybe when you first joined Wyoming Humanities, and then you came into the Center for the Book meetings because you were fresh like a puppy.
Yeah,
you had lots of
fresh,
questions.
Yep.
Okay, so the Scorpions are an '80s hair metal band.
Ooh, classic. I'm going to write that down right now.
All right, yeah, maybe you'll look up Winds of Change and maybe that'll make its way into the podcast at some point.
It might. You never know.
But yeah, so Lucas and I know each other mostly, or first, through Center for the Book stuff. And speaking of the Center for the Book, the National Book Festival, the Library of Congress National Book Festival, is happening on August 12th in D.C. Are you going this year, Lucas?
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't miss it. I hope I don't miss it.
Yeah.
I'm going.
We'll have to hang out.
I'm set.
Do you have your books
sure.
with you? What books are you featuring? So every year, every Center for the Book, every state and territory has one, and we all gather. I guess last year was in this big downstairs convention room, and this year I guess it's different. We're upstairs now, and there's like a hall or something.
I think it's the same space because this is huge, right? I mean, it's multiple blocks, this convention center. So I think it's just downsized. So I think we're just in one column as opposed to spread out.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, we're by the book signing table. That's what I learned today at our meeting. But we get to pick 2 books. It used to be just one book. It used to be just a children's or a YA author. And starting last year, we got to also pick an adult book. So I'm wondering, what books did you pick this year for the Wyoming Center for the Book?
So for our adult pick, we selected In a Land of Awe, Finding Reverence.
Move it over, maybe center it a little bit. There you go. Oh, okay.
In the Search for Wild Horses. It's written and photographed by Chad Hansen, who is a college professor at a community college in Casper, Wyoming. And it's a wonderful book. Well worth your time. A lot of great photographs, and it's all about talk about those serene moments, finding that in as opposed to a forest, but finding that in the prairies and connecting with nature in that way. It's really cool. Well, I'm so glad that was selected by our committee. And our children's book is The Day the Earth Rose Up.
Oh, really cool. Is that Devil's Tower?
Yeah, in fact, that's a really good story. It's illustrated and written by Elfrida Beartrack Algio. She's out of Colorado and a member of the Lakota Sioux tribe, I believe. I hope I got that right. But she is excellent. And she depicts in this book the Lakota story of Devil's Tower, or Bear Lodge, as they call it, how they envisioned its creation. I mean, we have the science and we have their story, and they're not the only Native tribe with a story. Everyone has a story to this. It's speaking of Devil's Tower, you need to visit that place. I have
been there. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember that. And also we had a comment in chat, what a pretty cover. And then she also says, I remember that story from when I was a kid. Have you been there? That's very cool. Yeah. Friends in chat, let us know if you've been to Wyoming, and B, to any of these places that Lucas mentions. Oh, we got a couple people who have been there.
Oh, you never fail to see a red-headed woodpecker, which is one of the woodpeckers I have seen on a regular basis.
Not completely cursed.
Right, not completely. But yeah, it is my favorite place to visit. And unlike Yellowstone, it's not as busy usually. I just love it. I love it. It's my favorite national monument.
Those are great books. Yeah, I love the variety. Do you have those postcards, or you said you made swag this year? Do you have those on your desk?
Do.
Sorry, I'm like catching you off guard. I didn't prepare you for this.
No, it's good. Luckily, my desk is all here. So what we did is, working with the authors, because they had such great photographs and artwork and talent here, we had them send us like real good copies of their artwork, and we made postcards out of it. So it was the cover of
Can I have
the
one?
full cover.
Can I have a postcard?
Of course,
Lucas?
I have several. I saved a few to give to the authors, and at the book festival, I'll be sure to connect, and I'll give you some.
All right.
Yeah, and here's the one from Chad Hansen's.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, I want that one too. I'll trade you.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, and these are wild Mustangs, you understand. So we have wild horses in the state of Wyoming, and so that's where he got his inspiration for a lot of these photographs.
Wild and free. Yeah, just like the aim.
Wild and free.
Yeah.
Precisely. See, we would get around to it for sure.
That's very cool. I guess I'll show mine really quickly. So this year is interesting because, again, Nevada, people think, landlocked state, maybe not a lot of water. We certainly do conserve our water in a southern part of the state, but our children's book, so it's called Nudie Poison Powerhouse of the Sea. Double whammy, both written and illustrated by Bonnie Kelso, who lives in Las Vegas. And this is about these really amazing little sea creatures called nudibranchs. There's over 3,000 species. And if you look them up, it's so incredible. There's one that looks just like a little bunny. If you look up like a sea bunny nudibranch, you'll find one. There's one that looks like a little sheep with like lettuce growing out of it. Just amazing, like the brightest colors. So this is for children, where they get to learn a little bit more about these little creatures. So tiny creature of the ocean, all the way up to the world's largest freshwater fish. So this is co-written by Zeb Hogan, who is a professor at the University of Nevada at Reno, and Stefan Lovgren. And I guess I've never seen Monsterfish, so I felt bad. I didn't know there's a TV show, but I guess there's a TV show on National Geographic called Monsterfish that features Zeb Hogan. And then there's like photographs in the book where here's some good it spreads, where he like travels around the world finding these like
Big fish.
huge fish. And so it's just funny. Well, I guess it was, not funny because I'm the one who deliberately picked them. I thought it would be great if Nevada had these two, water focused books about, tiny nudibranchs in the ocean, and then the world's largest freshwater fish. So we're making some monster fish stickers. So based on photos that Zeb took during his research and adventures. There's an artist that I'm working with in Las Vegas. We just finalized the illustrations today, so I'm hoping to get those printed in time for the festival. But we're gonna have three monster fish stickers that we'll be giving away. We'll be printing out, a couple thousand, and I'll save some for you if you want.
Oh yeah, please. Yeah, I like a good fish sticker, I guess.
Yeah,
That'll
I know
be
it's
cool.
not a bird. I'm sorry, but someday.
Yeah, it's. I mean, birds eat fish, so.
Yeah, some birds do. That's right.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's no bird, but I guess it'll do.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah. So I guess, Lucas, I'm gonna back up a little bit here, and Millennial Junior says birds have fish inside them. Yeah, some fish do, or sorry, some birds do. Like, was it cormorants? Are cormorants the big bird?
Cormorants,
Cormorants,
yeah,
that's
they're
right.
pretty
Yeah.
cool. They're like snakes with wings, but I don't mean that in a creepy way. They're really cool. They're really long necks, and they really just do what they want. And we get one species that migrates through this area about once a year, double-crested cormorants, to be more specific.
This is
but they're great.
a little bit silly. There's a Pokemon that's based on that bird, and I forgot I bought a little pin. But here it is, eating a Pikachu.
It does kind of look like a cormorant a little bit.
Yeah. So this is a gift for my friend. I just haven't sent it to her yet because she also loves birds. So I wanted to. She likes birds and Pokemon, and I thought it'd be really funny. Not the Pikachu.
There's so many Pokemon based off of birds.
Oh, yeah.
I remember growing up, and even today. There are all the birds, all the bird-related stuff.
And okay, I don't know why. This is just perfect. It is like kismet or something. I was just looking around my desk. I have another little pin, same artist or maker. This is not Pokemon, but it's Animal Crossing. It's the owl.
Oh, it's the owl that works at the museum, right? I see the bow tie.
Yeah.
Does he have a bow tie?
Yeah, it is a bow tie.
It looks like him.
Yeah, where's your bow tie, Lucas?
Oh, I know. I debated, and I knew this would come up.
I'm so sorry.
I guarantee you, if I don't wear a bow tie, it's going to come up. But I thought, oh man, I had chores, and I came in like, yeah, I just gotta. Yeah, I didn't.
You don't have like a bowl of bow ties on your desk? You can just like whip one out and like put one on.
There's an idea. Break glass for emergencies type thing, and just have. All right. That's it. I'm gonna set something up now.
Yeah, for people who don't know, Lucas is often seen with a bow tie. So someone in chat, some quiet guy said, you always got to have an emergency bow tie.
I'm going to now. Always. It's a good idea. I'm not joking. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna have a pile. And I can tie it fast enough. I can do it.
How many bow ties do you own? Do you know off the top of your head?
About 30, 31, 32. Because, you can't just wear a bow tie. It depends on mood. It has to match. There's so many factors that go into it. Sometimes when I travel, I'm the worst. If I'm only there for one professional meeting where a bow tie is required, I bring 5. Because I don't know which one I'm going to need for that day. I'm like, I don't know. So I always have a fistful. Like, here we go. Let's sort through them.
Do you ever wear regular ties, or is it just bow ties?
I do own conventional ties, because before I learned how to tie a bow tie, I would always do that, wear conventional ties. But since I've learned, I haven't worn a conventional tie in probably 2 years. No, 2 years. Yeah, I thought maybe. But yep, 2 years.
It's been
a while.
Do you have your bow tie picked out for the National Book Festival?
Well, I have the 10 I'm going to bring. but I can't tell you which one I'm going to wear. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
not sure
Well, I
yet
mean,
either.
it's several days, right? Because we, so for people in chat, so
Yeah.
the book festival takes place, I believe, Saturday, August 12th, right? Yes, Saturday, August
Yep.
12th. But for us Center for the Book people, we have like two meetings. We have like a meeting and then like a reception on Friday the 11th. And then I'm actually going to get in a couple days before that. I'm flying into Baltimore because there's like a good nonstop flight, and then it's really easy to get there. And also, my best friend lives in Baltimore. But
Oh, sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Good time. Good use time.
I guess I'm glad I don't wear bow ties because that's a lot of days, and I would be
Well, they're not very
yeah.
big, and you can fold them nice. I mean, they fold a lot smaller than a conventional tie. So
Okay, I'll have to get a bow tie someday. You've convinced me.
it's easy to be a bow tie person.
We have
Yeah.
a good conversation happening in chat. So Cypher says an actual tied bow tie, respect +1.
Oh, great. +1.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good.
+1. You would be amazed how many men don't know how to tie a tie. Guilty. I do not know how to tie a tie. Gotta rock that double Windsor. Is that a knot style? I don't know
Yeah, it's a conventional knot. I used to do that in college, but I can't tell you if I could do it now. If I'm being honest with you, I just bow ties are so much easier, and it's just done. I'm sure the skills like riding a bike, it'll come back if I actually sit in front of a mirror and do it. But I can't tell you how off the top of my head. But I'm sure I could do it again.
Yeah, I would love to know. Do you know if there are like local, well, maybe this is where you get your bow ties from. Are there like local bow tie makers, like artisanal bow ties?
I'm sure there are somewhere. I buy a lot of my ties on online through Stacey Adams has some good ones, and they also have good shoes, by the way. If you're into shoes, I can be into shoes. You can definitely get some good shoes there too, and they have good bow ties. There's a lot of ways to get bow ties. You can buy them online through websites. I also like going to thrift stores. There's one in Cheyenne, the capital. It's like about 4 hours from me or so, south of my home. There's a place called the Emporium. It was owned by this lady who's been working there since the late 40s. And she's still there last time I checked. And they have a bunch of bow ties in there and that's a good way to get them because they're used, so they're way cheaper. Because a bow tie runs like $30 in places. You can get a real nice bow tie at these thrift stores, and no one wears them really anymore. And so you can just pick up a handful for like, it's great. So that's where I get a lot of mine.
I was curious because I'm thinking, I'm looking at a great conversation happening in our chat. I think this is a real humanities moment. Like if there's someone who might like practice, like the ancient art of creating bow ties, maybe it's like handed down from generation to generation. Maybe do a program with them or interview them for your podcast.
Please reach out.
Yeah,
please reach out. I will pay you for some ties.
Yeah, I'll have to. Maybe after this, I'll Google. Yeah, who in Wyoming makes bow ties, because this is I forget where in the States now. It's either in the Pacific Northwest or on the East Coast. This is like my gut feeling, but I saw a YouTube video. There's also a website where someone like makes like artisanally sharpened pencils, and so I've always wanted to get one for a friend because it costs like $50 or something. Like he like does it like the old school way, and then he'll send it to you. And it's like this like freshly sharpened pencil, and it's like it's like a work of art, but it's also like just a pencil. But it's
would you
special.
ever use it though?
I don't think so. I think I would just frame it.
Yeah, right. Something like that. Would you use it? Yeah, man.
So
yeah, but that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I like
there
that.
must be someone
Giving me
who
a
wears
lot of
ties.
ideas.
Yeah.
Emergency bow tie stash, artisan bow tie people. It's great.
These are all things that we connect to. Lucas, this is very random, so I'm going to switch topics here. The University of Wyoming, are there multiple campuses? Because I think I've only been to the one in Laramie. Is that right?
It's just one campus.
Okay.
We have one university, but they do have like satellite sites, like at Casper College and like extension offices in places. But it's really just one big university.
Okay.
And I guess there might be like pilot ones somewhere. People who know better are screaming at me probably like, you fool. But yeah, it's really just one university, and Laramie's its HQ. I mean, that's where everything happens at the university. And besides those extension offices and things.
I have a story for you, which I actually don't know if I've ever told you, because I've met you a couple times in person now, but I don't know if I told you this story. The best graduate school conference I've ever been to, no joke, was at the University of Wyoming in Laramie. This was when I was doing my master's degree. It was my first year. Might have even been the first or second conference, like the grad school conference I did. And I remember because it was hosted by the English department, and they were the theme of the conference was video games, like maybe like video games as literature, something to do with like video games. And I was like, yeah, I want to go there and present. So I presented on like, video game music. But I remember this conference for multiple reasons. First, the flight there, we had to take a little tiny airplane, which I'd never been on before. That was so cool. So to get there was like a thing in itself, getting to fly in this like little tiny
Yes.
airplane where you're like, oh my God, are we going to crash? Like it was like shaking really loud, super cool. B, they had a prom. So we all of us got to go to this like conference prom. I don't know if like the department was hosting a prom or what was going on, but the
Whoa.
conference had a prom attached to it. And then third, at the very end of this this video game conference, there was a Mario Kart 64 tournament. And Lucas, I got second place and I was extremely bitter because I was winning. I was like doing so great. I was in like, I don't know, it was based on like, points. You do like the whole like course. Last course, we're on Rainbow Road. I'm like neck and neck. I think I'm tied with the guy who got first place. And that's because I got hit twice by a chain chomp on Rainbow Road, and once you get hit on that map, there is no recovering. And so it was just like, well,
Yeah,
all right,
it's
I
gone.
just got second. But best conference I've ever been to because there was a prom, there was a video game tournament. Oh, we went bar
Right, those are
hopping.
so cool.
Yeah, we went bar
Oh, of
hopping
course.
too
Oh.
at night. So I just have these
Those are like,
super fond memories of Laramie. I want to go back. And I want to go
you
back to
should.
Wyoming.
It's a
Yeah.
great place. I'm so glad you had a good experience. That sounds awesome, by the way. I didn't get any tour. I did do a Super Smash Brothers Melee tournament in my time at the University of Wyoming. Yeah, boy, wild. I love that.
Yeah.
Great story.
What did you main, by the way, in Smash Brothers?
Mr. Game and Watch.
The bacon.
2D, yeah, of course.
I love
you have
that.
to do Mr. Game and Watch. He's just random enough, I like it.
Yes. I'm going to ask you a few questions. So this is, gosh, time is flying by. So we have about, I would say 10, 15 minutes left. So this is our chance. If anyone wants to ask Lucas, any burning questions about bird watching, about video games, about the work he does at Wyoming Humanities, this is your chance. But Lucas, I wanted to ask you before I forgot, what are your top 3 places in Wyoming? This could be places that are of like personal significance to you, or if you wanted to bring someone, what are your top 3 places? I know we've already mentioned like a bunch of places, but what are your top 3 for now?
Yeah, so a lot of those places I did mention throughout. So I'm going to try to be a bit different and try to pull some other of my top places.
Okay.
There's a few places in Wyoming I've been to where I didn't like. I know it's a cliche to say, but everywhere Wyoming is just fun to be. But in terms of like locations, like Wyoming has a lot of cool museums and historical sites. Like the Medicine Wheel is always worth a visit. It's really cool. I haven't been there in a long time.
Where's that located?
This whole thing. It's on the eastern side of the Bighorns, so that's helpful for those who know where the Bighorns are. It's Highway 14. No, okay. It's the north central part of the state somewhere,
Okay.
up in that area. And of course, the Campbell County Rock Pile Museum, which is very close to my heart. Great place. I'm not ashamed to plug that here. It's everything you need to know about the history of the Powder River Basin. And it's next to a geological anomaly of a giant pile of rocks. It's not man-made, these rocks. So when people were migrating through here, the rocks were a sign of being close to water because Donkey Creek was just right down the hill at the time. Really cool pile of rocks. Real, very, very awesome. And it's still there to this day. But it's not a geology museum. Sorry to disappoint you. And of course, you can never go wrong visiting the Buffalo Bill Center for the West in Cody, Wyoming. It's you have to spend at least 2 hours just to scratch the surface. It's a huge museum. Everything from art to guns to portraits and paintings, everything. It's awesome. I love that place. And in terms of locations that I haven't mentioned, talking about Devil's Tower, the Red Desert, For me, I really like going to pretty much any public land space. Just north of me, a couple miles or so, is a massive several hundred acre public land hiking area with hills and trees and dug out ravines, and it's just wonderful. So it's not really a park or anything. It's just a BLM space to be public land. Wonderful.
I will try to go to all these places someday because I did love Wyoming when I was there. I did my master's field work for my thesis in Montana, and I road tripped with my parents from Illinois west. So, we went through the Dakotas, we saw a bunch of national parks, and yeah, Wyoming is really special. That's when I went to the Badlands back then. We saw the Tetons, and then
Of course, you have to see those.
yeah,
Yes.
Devil's Tower. We saw it's not in Wyoming, but I remember we saw Mount Rushmore on our road trip, and then when we got to Montana, we got to go to Glacier National Park, which is one of the most beautiful parks I've ever been to. I really want to go back because we only saw a very, very small portion of it, and I guess it extends up into Canada. I didn't get to see that part, but I'd like to do that someday. So
Oh yeah, you got to come back. We'll hang out.
yeah,
Go someplace. Wyoming's not that big.
we'll go bird watching.
Yeah.
I'll come in March, and we can look for cranes and woodpeckers.
Yeah, we'd have to. Yeah, we can definitely. There's a lot of cool birds. We could look for some sage grouse. We can go to like a sage grouse lek or something and hear they vibrate at such a level that you could feel it in your feet, but you can't really hear it. It's really cool to hear grouse do their thrumming. Oh, it's great. Anyway.
Are there when you're in DC in a few weeks, I guess are you gonna go bird watching or bird listening?
Anytime I travel, I try to make time, but that doesn't always happen. It's some trips and you're limited on funds and time, and so it just depends. But I always bring my birding supplies. It's always a pain because it fills up my suitcase.
What do those consist of? What are birding supplies?
So anymore at minimum, just a bird guide and my binoculars anymore. Now I do have my birding scope, which I can really get in there, but it's too big. It's just my whole suitcase would just be the bird scope
And bow ties,
clothes or birding. Yeah, right.
Shoes.
Yeah, it's a tough trade. So I usually forego the scope when I travel long distances. But if I'm driving, the scope's always in the trunk of my car. Always, because you never know. If you see a bird way off in the distance, like on a lake or something, you got to get that scope. Man, get right up in there. Count the feathers. I love a good scope.
When I was in Mongolia the first time, this is 2015, I was on a tour with I don't know, I'm gonna say like 10 or 11. It was a very large tour, but it was all like friends. It was pretty much friends and friends of friends, a group of friends from Olympia, Washington, and then a couple of their friends on the East Coast, but mostly like older retired folks from Washington, like retired professors, teachers, that kind of thing, and all of them were really interested in nature, and a good chunk of them, maybe this is why they went on this trip, were into birding and butterflies. And I remember we were split up. We just split up into like our SUVs for the day, and we had walkie-talkies, and people they had their birding manuals out, and they'd be like, like they'd call it the features of the bird, like, whatever, like pointed feathers or like whatever beak. And it was just like, it was so fascinating. That was the first time I'd ever met like legit bird watchers and bird enthusiasts, and it was very cool. Yeah.
You described that's every experience with anyone who goes birding with me. It's like I usually go alone, but when you go in groups, it's exactly what it's like. 100%. That's what we do. It's like if we're not quite sure, someone's in the back, like, give me some features. It's great. That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, no, it was very fun. I don't think I identified a single bird. I just identified, or I just observed them because I like people watching. I don't bird watch. I people watch.
Sure.
So that was
There's
really
not much
cool.
difference between the two.
Glasses, bow tie.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good trip. So I think about bird watching and bird watchers fondly because that was my first introduction to them.
It's a positive introduction. It's, as a rule, a very welcoming community, and it's getting better, I think, all the time. And I think there's a lot of birding groups really putting their best foot forward to be more inclusive about birding. It's like birding is for all movements, and finding better handicap accessible places for bird people to go. I mean, there's just birding is getting better all the time. Since when I started a few years, over a decade ago, things are just getting better all the time with that community. So, which is great.
I hope that someday you can do your own programming connected to bird watching, because do you
Oh,
remember
wow. Spoiler alert.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say last year at the National Humanities Conference in LA, do you remember? I think they were nominated for the Schwartz Prize, right? Okay,
They
you're nodding.
were.
Yeah, you know. So there
Yeah.
was like a humanities council did a program with, I guess, older people and like bird watching or nature, and
I learned most of my birding skills from a club in the Black Hills of South Dakota called the Black Hills Birding Club. And I was young. I was the youngest by several decades. Old people, it's great for birding. They love it, and I like it. It's great. But since that Los Angeles conference, I have been thinking and slowly building up for some sort of humanities birding program. But that's all I'll say, just because it's very ethereal right now. But I have a lot of notes. Can't see it off screen, but I have a board just full of sticky notes all about this, with like charts and little drawings, and it'll be cool.
Yeah.
I hope.
Well, as you know,
I can't tell you when it will happen.
I'm going to plug it here because I don't know if I have a command for it, but a few years ago, I helped to spearhead this publication called Sagebrush to Sandstone,
Yes.
A Humanities Guide to Outdoor Nevada.
We love this book here. We talk about that book in Wyoming Humanities all the time, and we're trying to do something similar, but with Wyoming themes.
Definitely do it.
We love this book.
Thank you.
It's the greatest book.
Well, I just put the link
wonderful.
to it in our chat. So for all of our friends, if you would like a free copy and have something with my name in it, you can download a digital copy. We do have a very, very small number of physical books left. So we actually applied for a grant from the Library of Congress, like that Gwynn Center grant, to reprint Sagebrush to Sandstone, because I would love to do more literary walks again. That was a lot of fun to do. The first year we did it, we partnered with a local like outdoorsy walking organization, a nonprofit in Reno, and they do like a Discover Your Walk series. And so we worked with poets and writers and even like spoken word artists to combined with this book, people would go on walks and stop and write down their observations, write down a poem, do an activity, and it was super cool. Some guy would like a command. I can add it later, but thank you so much for asking. But definitely check out this link if you haven't, or check out Sagebrush to Sandstone because it's free. Like that was like the whole point. We wanted people to know like you don't have to pay for this. If you do order a book, you're not paying for the book. You're paying for shipping actually. So I think it's a really good deal.
Oh, it's a great deal. Yeah, I have the PDF version on my computer.
If you want a physical book, Lucas, I'll bring a physical book for you.
Oh, really? That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and we'll touch base on the literary walk too, because I like that idea also.
Well, we're slowly coming to the end of our time. Lucas, I guess I have two more questions for you. If you can stick around, and you kind of touched on this earlier, so I apologize if like we sort of like prematurely like stole your thunder, or if you already gave your answer. But a question that I like to ask everyone, every first-time guest, is what do the humanities mean to you? And earlier you were speaking about the glue, and I wasn't sure if that was part of your answer for this question, but I would love to know.
I mean, yeah, that is the answer.
To life, the universe, and everything.
Right, it is. Absolutely, it is. I mean, the science, math, engineering, all this stuff, it is an offshoot of what the humanities is. I mean, I'm clearly biased, right? I see humanities as it is the great tree that everything else grows off of. I no matter how logical something is, it can't be complete. Which is why AI is so scary to me. Because it's the very antima of the humanities, and I don't mean that as to be anti-computer science, because that's not what I mean. If there's no humans involved with the creation of art or the creation of works of literature, you lose that humanities element completely. You don't have that human experience, and it can mimic it to a frightening degree, but it's just not right. I mean, it's just out of principle. You should also pay people to do those things too. Anyway, so that's the completion of my answer, as opposed to going all the way back.
Thank you for that. Lucas, is there anything else you want to share with us before we say goodbye tonight? I just want to say, thank you again for streaming with me. I'm super excited to see you in just a few weeks in Washington, D.C. And then, of course, at the National Humanities Conference in Indianapolis. I assume you're going, because I know we're going to see each other.
I hope I'm
before
going.
that too.
I better
Yeah.
be going. I mean, I've been reading all the Kurt Vonnegut I can find to prepare for my trip to Indianapolis. It's like I'm ready to go. I mean, I've read even his obscure stuff to prepare for this trip.
You're set. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Well,
yeah, do you have anything else you want to share? Totally okay if your brain is dead, but if you wanted to plug anything or say anything.
I just want to say again that I think computer science is a great field, and the AI comment, I hope, isn't totally shooting that in the foot, because I just want to clarify, because I have a really good friend who's a big computer science guy.
No, I think I understand where you're coming from.
I think he knows what I mean, but I just want to be sure everybody knows. I'm not anti-computer science by no means.
And also,
again, kernel space.
Yes, if ChatGPT becomes sentient, know that Lucas is on your side, and please do not do anything bad to him.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Yeah, it saves me for the future.
No, I really appreciate working with you on just everything. I think it's great that we can do this program together, that we have Center for the Book. Lucas and I are presenting on a virtual panel before the National Humanities Conference. I guess we'll have to talk about that at some point. I guess in October.
Let's make a note to talk about that.
We'll make a sticky note to talk about that. But yeah, we have a lot of exciting things planned. So I guess for all of our friends in chat, I'll just let you know. So next week, we're going to be back Tuesday, August 1st. Can you believe it's going to be August at 12 p.m. Pacific? And this is super exciting because I was just talking about her, but we're going to be streaming. I'm going to be streaming with Bonnie Kelso, who is one of our 2023 Great Reads authors this year. So she's going to be going with me to Washington, D.C., and she will be on Humanities at Play. We're going to be playing the game Abzu, which is beautiful, beautiful underwater game. I think it's made by the people who did Journey. So we're going to be scuba diving, looking at fish, and then we'll learn more about Bonnie and her work, and we'll talk a little about the book festival. So I think I'm super excited about that. So that's next Tuesday at 12 p.m. No stream on Thursday, but then we'll be back the following week. But yeah, we are going to upload this recording to YouTube after it's over in a couple weeks. So the videos stay on Twitch for about a week, and then after that, we like to upload them to YouTube for people who miss them. But yeah, I'm just really appreciative of your time, Lucas. Thank you to everyone in chat who is either lurking or commented or asked questions or shared their thoughts on bow ties tonight. Really, really appreciated that.
Yeah, thanks for including me. I've had a great time. This was fun. Yeah,
no, you do really awesome work, and I can't wait to hear more about how your programs evolve over time, and if you do get to do birding things, because that'd be really cool.
I'm excited to find out too. Great.
Awesome. Well, all right. Well, have a good night, everyone. We'll see you next time. And yeah, just make sure you hydrate. And if you're able to, please do go look outside sometime and listen to birds and watch birds. And when you do, think about Lucas. Think about the purple-headed Lucas Swan.
Just look up with your mouth closed. It's an important rule.
Okay.
Always look up with your mouth closed.
Yes. All right. On that note, good night, everyone. Thank you.